Hello chess friends, and welcome to the Zard of Chess channel, and welcome to my chess games. Today I wanted to show you a very nice game that I've played for my club here in this regional cup final. We were second. We didn't play in with our best team. Many players haven't played for our club. I think if we played this match games in our best with our best players, I think we could have even been first. But that was really a decision for the club because many players have to travel for far away, and it wasn't such an important tournament. And today I wanted to show you a game. Okay, this game is really not something special. It's not this top grandmaster level, but I wanted to show you a couple of my games because I can explain in these games really this thinking process and what are my ideas in the game, and I think it's something you should maybe watch. And in this game that I wanted to show you, I played against a talented player. He's around 1900 rated, and I really don't like so much to play against these young talented players because they really know their opening theory. They know this particular lines, and basically you cannot win these matches very easily, very effectively. You have to play slowly, and but it's also part of my style of playing. I'm not that type of player like maybe this tactical players like Mikhail Tal. I like to play slowly, positionally, improving the pieces, improving the position. That's just my style. It's maybe not the most attractive one, but I think I'm really use this main strategical ideas, this opening principles in my chess games. I at least try to do so because I think this is the so-called healthy chess. And let's see now this game. I played here as white. I like to open here with d4. My opponent respond with d5. We have c4, and now d takes c4. This queen's gambit accepted, and here I like to play this knight on f3 because it prevents ideas like e5 to create this immediate breakthrough here. So my opponent here choose this bishop on g4, and okay, there is this principle in chess in which says you shouldn't play in an opening twice with the same piece, but here I decided to play knight on e5 anyway because now my opponent has to react, and he played bishop on f5, so I forced him to do the same thing, to play it twice with the same piece. So I think it's not a problem here with this knight on e5. I have a very nice centralized knight, and it also attacks this c4. So here e3 was played, and now e6. You see, this is also maybe an idea after bishop on c4 to aim simply this f7. So that's why my opponent played e6, and now bishop takes on c4. c6 was played, and now castling. I simply castled. I wasn't scared of ideas like b5 because I would have played in bishop on b3, and maybe now after knight on f6 I would have played here a4. So that was my idea, to try to force him to do this b5, because now after maybe b4 I have knight on d2, and I'm controlling very well this c4, e4 squares, f3, e4 ideas. This c4 is really important. Then queen on e2, rook on d1 ideas, try e4 pawn breakthroughs. So with this very nice central control, I think this b4 isn't a problem because now the b4 here is fixed, and no pawn breakthroughs on the queen side are possible. So here, that's why after knight on f6 I played simply again developing move, knight on c3, simply healthy chess, as I always love to say, knight from b to d7. And this is the move I really didn't like. Now I didn't like this position for me, so I know I didn't make anything wrong, but this knight on d7 was really now a moment in which I had to use time, and here I decided to take out this knight on d7, because if you trade off the knight here with this, if you play knight takes on d7, then I have e4, again a tempo on the bishop. After bishop on g6, maybe I have a pawn breakthrough here with d5. So maybe knight on c5 can be played, but here after bishop on b3, so that was my calculation. After e takes d5 and then e takes d5, I can play here this rook on this semi-open file, f4 ideas and stuff like that. So if maybe black decides here to take, in long terms he's also left with this isolated pawn, which could be really a weakness. So that's why I decided simply to take this knight on d7, and queen on d7 had to be played, and now queen on e2. Removing the queen from the first rank, which is also an opening principle, we have bishop on g6, and now rook on d1. And again, I wasn't afraid of this bishop on h5 ideas, because f3 is a good move. I wanted to play it anyway, and here bishop on h5 would again lose the tempo for black. Here f3, so again with the preparation to play maybe e5 and a pawn breakthrough with d5. So here after rook on d1, my opponent played bishop on e7, and now I played bishop on d2. Now I finished my development. It's now move 12. You see, I finished all of my development. I developed all of my pieces. I've removed the queen from the first rank. I connected the rooks. I have secured my king, and here my opponent played castling. Now I played really as maybe a strange idea, but I think it's a good move. I played the move bishop on e1. And it's really now annoying square for the bishop, but my preparations in this lines were f3 e4, and in this types of position, if I try this slowly positional pawn breakthrough with f3 e4, well, my opponent has maybe here the opportunity to play the move c5. And then after bishop takes on c5, you see he will really have a nice bishop on this diagonal. So that's why bishop on e1, in order to prevent c5 ideas. I still have the rook connection. It's really important to have this rook connected. Here you will see that this rooks will in the later stage of the game will work very well combined. And now I really prevented this c5 idea, because again I wasn't threatened by this b4 pawn breakthrough. I have again b3, and if you try again b4, then I have knight on a4, and then I can fix the knight on a very nice square here on c5. I can play rook on c1 and we'll have a very nice target here on c6. So that's why after b5 was played and bishop on b3, but now queen on b7. And I think this is now a mistake by my opponent. You don't want to give up your activity with your queen. Maybe queen on c7 was better with bishop on d6 ideas. Here the b7, okay, it can support maybe ideas like a4, a5, a4, and then after that b4. But you can do the same thing with the rook. You don't have to use the queen in order to support this these pawns here on this a and b file. Here I think this queen on b7 now is the first slightly mistake by black. And here I played on my plan, and I played the move f3. Now with the idea, just again, I'm playing really slowly. I hope you realize that I play positionally. I don't want to rush into anything. I don't want to push so far this e4 pawn. I just want to improve the position of my pieces. So here f3 was played with the preparation to play bishop on f2, and again preventing c5 ideas. So c5 is not possible so far because the b5 is hanging. So I think with this bishop on e1 I managed to restrict my opponent's ability to play with his pawns on the queen side. Here my opponent played then after that rook on d8. Now bishop on f2, and now knight on d5. And okay, and now I had several choices here, and I think I make the right one, because I didn't take out the knight on d5 because it leads to c takes d5, and now we have a sort of symmetrical pawn structure. We have the bishop pair, and there's no way, if my opponent plays here correctly, that I'm gonna win this game. The best thing that I can gain here is really a draw, because we have really this symmetrical pawn structure. The bishop pair is perfectly fine by black. It's not blocked out, so I didn't like this position. So that's why after knight on d5 I decided to, well, little bit spice up this position, and I played knight on e4. I was really forcing here now black to take this knight on e4, because after knight takes on bishop takes on e4 and f takes e4, now we have this asymmetrical pawn structure, and I really like now this position, because with these 3 pawns in the center I have created now this very dynamic position in the center, and now I can push pawns, and of course we want to create open positions while playing with the bishop pair. So that's why here knight on f6 was played, and I simply pushed forward. Again, e5, gaining some space. If my opponent would have played maybe here knight on e5, then in long terms I have e4 possibilities with d5 pawn breakthrough, similar ideas. And the most important thing here is that I have opened now this f file. This f file is now this semi-open file on which I will coordinate my attack. These 3 pawns are really fixed now. It's really hard for black to break this pawn structure in the center. You can try with c5, but after c takes d4, I have e takes d4, and again I will simply support this very important space advantage on the 5th rank. And if you try something like f6 in order to break this e5 space advantage, then you see you will open this very important diagonal for my bishop. So f6 isn't working here for black in this type of position. And now I was really satisfied now with my position, because I really forced black to do something again. Here knight on d7 was played, and now I played queen on g4. Now the queen is really now dancing around black's king. Now I have possibilities to push h4, h5, h6, but that was all possible because I played on this idea to not take this knight on d5. I was really searching for some dynamic pawn structures here. Knight on e4. Now if you try f5, well, then I can simply jump on c5, bishop takes on c5, and then after d takes c5, again I have possibilities to break through here with moves this e4 and really open this diagonal for this bishop. And here also bishop on g3 is a possibility, and then after that maybe creating sort of an outpost on d6. So let's see now the continuation. F takes e4, knight on f6 was played, e5, knight on d7, queen on g4, and now knight on f8, protecting this h7 pawn, and here rook on f1. Now I finally opened this f file. My idea is here just to create this sort of battery. Rook on f3, rook on f1, and again you see black has problems to push this f6 in order to improve the position around his king, because he's weakening then his e6 pawn. c5 was played. Now I played king on h1. This is now a preparation to stay with this bishop on this diagonal, because I want to have a very nice protection of this d4 pawn, but I want to stay with this bishop, and my preparation is to play bishop on g1 in order to open this f file. So c takes d4, e takes d4, rook on c8 was played, and now h4. Now I want to play h5, h6. I want to weaken more now black's king, but that's possible because I have this very firm pawn structure in the center. It's really hard for black to challenge now this d4 pawn, because this d4 is really an important support of this e5. This e5 gives me really space, and you want to have this space control, of course, protected with this d4 pawn, and the queen and the bishop are protecting this pawn. If I lose the pawn here on d4, I will probably lose the game, so there's no way I'm going to give up on this very, very important pawn structure. So here h6 was played, and now bishop on g1. Now I finally opened the f file, but you see it had to be prepared. You have to play this slowly, and improvements of the positions. I was now really satisfied with my position. Now my opponent played a5. Now I played rook on f3, and now he played a4. And here I also used some time, and I didn't react here. I played rook on f1. Now I finally have this rook connection on the f file. I didn't care so much for this bishop anymore. So here my opponent tried rook on c7, and now basically the game is over. My opponent should have maybe here even take the bishop on b3, but it leads into really complicated lines. After rook on f7, you have to play g6, and then I can take maybe 8 takes b3. Maybe rook on d7 is the continuation, but now I have bishop on e3 with the attack, so h5 has to be played. Then I have maybe queen on f4 with the preparation to play here on h6. So here maybe bishop on b4 can be played, but now after rook takes on d7, queen takes on d7, I have maybe here this d5 pawn breakthrough in order to attack the bishop. The bishop, if you take here, of course you lose the bishop, so the bishop has to retreat maybe here on d6. Then I have on e7, then I have this d6 breakthrough here. So still a complicated position. You see here the threat is of course to f7. So I didn't calculate all of these lines because we played this 30-minute plus 30-second increment. So maybe it was here better for black to take the bishop on b3. He instead of that played rook on c7 and made a mistake because I simply took out. Now bishop on g5 was played in order to cut out the defense, the attack here from the queen on g7, but now I simply took out rook takes on c7, queen takes on c7, bishop on e6, here the king removed, and now I simply took out the bishop. Knight takes on e6, queen takes on e6, queen on c2, but basically the game is over. I simply took out g takes h6, we have rook on g8, and now I took another pawn, and here king on h7 was played, and now rook on f3, and my opponent resigned. So I hope you enjoyed this game. As I said, it's not this top grandmaster level, it's not so special, but I really will do this in the future because I want to show you my thinking process in the chess game. I think it's still a good and positional game that I've played here. Really slowly improvement of the positions. Okay, and in the future, as I said, I'll show you more of these games if they have this nice elements of a chess game, and we'll do the same. You can meanwhile post me also your chess games if you want to publish them here on my YouTube chess channel, and I'll publish them in this Chess Unites the World series. I hope you're familiar with this series, so you can watch also this Chess Unites the World series, and you can also watch my best chess games of all time if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.